We recording? We're working on it. All right. It's been another week, and it's time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. Pat yourself on the back for showing up. Hit the like button if you enjoy showing up. Leave a comment about why you showed up. You know, all that happy horse shit. Hit the subscribe button if you're going to keep showing up. Anyway, I have spent a surprising amount of the last week talking to people who don't seem to understand the first fucking thing about employment. So I want to go over the three core things about a job. And I don't just mean a job where you work for somebody else. I mean a job where you're doing anything. Like this applies to employees, contractors, freelancers, business owners. It's literally everybody. Artists. It applies to every fucking person on the planet because, well, let's just jump into the first thing. When you go and you do your job, when you go and you do your work, what good is it to you? The first thing you should be concerned about is you, okay? And when I say the first thing you should be concerned about is you, it is, what is this work doing to make you a stronger person, a smarter person, a better person? Because if it's not making you stronger, smarter, and better, you're missing the point. First of all, any job that you do can make you stronger, smarter, and better, no matter how fucking ridiculous it is. Even the most absurd horseshit job on the planet can make you stronger, smarter, and better if you approach it with the right attitude and you pay some fucking attention. Everything. Most people just don't bother looking. So, that's the first thing, is what is your job doing for you? What are you taking away from it? How is your job making you a better person? Because if your job isn't making you a better person, you need a different job. You need to move the fuck on. I've done this. I used to work at the CAD Center at GSA as a government contractor. I was with, I think this was when we were still Cordant, before we were purchased by Tracor Enterprise Solutions. But anyway, I worked for a company called Cordant. Cordant got bought by Tracor. And I think it was while we were still Cordant that I was working for the General Service Administration in the CAD Center. You know how they're talking about all the federal buildings and the space management and stuff in the news lately? Yeah, that's the CAD Center. That's what we did, was manage all of the buildings and all of the leases and all of the office space. So anyway, I used to work there, and it got to a point where all I was doing was sitting there in case something broke. But nothing ever broke because I knew how to do my fucking job. And it wasn't progressing me at all. It wasn't moving me forward in my career. Not one bit. I was there for like probably a year and a half. And for the first 6 months, everything was great. And then for the next year, it was like, why even am I fucking here? And it's not that I couldn't do anything to become a stronger and smarter and better person at the CAD Center. I had a lot of great conversations with the people at the CAD Center about all kinds of stuff. When I first went to the CAD Center, I thought architecture was the most boring fucking subject ever. And now I read Vitruvius for enjoyment. And I'm fascinated by the Anasazi, and also the oh God, what's the tribe out in the desert? I don't remember. There's this ancient set of Muslim communities out in the desert of the Middle East. And they kept these massive cisterns full of water. Water is like gold out in the desert. And they had these secret caches of water all over the place that only they knew how to find. So they could live out in the middle of the desert, and they were collecting like millions of gallons of water every year in a space where nobody else could do that. God damn it, what is in my eye? I hate it when that happens. God, that's going to drive me nuts. I got to pause and go look it up. The Nabateans, that's who it was, the Nabateans. I was sitting here, I was like, does it start with a C? No, I don't even think there's a C in it. And it's the Nabateans. The Nabateans had amazing water collection methods, and it's incredible. And I had a book I was writing where a guy was from a desert tribe, and when I started looking into the Nabateans, I was like, okay, fuck, I got to back the fuck up, because the way I am representing this guy's tribe is just, that's not reality. If you actually did have to live in fairly large communities in the desert, you would learn this shit. Maybe not this well, but you would learn this. If your people are at all educated, if your people are at all clever, they're gonna figure out how to do this shit. So that's fascinating. It's them and the Anasazi and the people down in Pueblo, Colorado, and all of that stuff. The people who built their houses into the sides of cliffs. And there was this dude who worked like across the room from me, and he's just this black dude, and he was fascinated by all of these old tribes from the Southwest, and he was always talking about them, and just being in that office with that guy and having conversations with him while he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing, and neither of us really had a whole lot of thing to do. But just being in an office with him and talking to him, I learned so much about architecture and about archaeology and about the history of these Southwestern tribes. And it's just fascinating. And I think I was greatly improved as a person for like learning about that shit. He's also the guy who told me that the Apache, the Indian tribe, the Apache aren't actually the Apache. It's just that there was another tribe in the area, and the white man was hanging out with that tribe, and they're like, hey, so like, what's that tribe over there called? And they said Apache, and Apache was their word for enemy. And the white people, of course, got it wrong. They pronounced it wrong, and they started calling those people the Apache. When the Apache themselves, they call themselves Dene, the people. And we've known this for centuries. And we keep calling them the Apache. The racism in America is just insane. It runs through, but that's neither here nor there. That's the whole, it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Okay, your job should be improving you to some extent. It wasn't improving me professionally. I left that job and I went and I did some other stuff for Tracor. I went and, what did I do at that point? I went to, I went to WINGS, the Web-Based Interactive Network of Government Services, which was the most ridiculous misfeature of a program. We integrated a whole bunch of government services on the interwebs. This is like the early 1990s, so the web is still a new thing. And we put them in kiosks, and this is the brilliant set of decisions that were made by government committees. We built these kiosks that you could use to, like, access government services, and they decided, okay, the major government service that we want people to be able to access is property taxes. We wanted to be able to pay their property taxes online. Okay, we could do that. All right, all we got to do, we take these kiosks and we put a card reader in them so people can put in their credit card. No, not enough people have credit cards. Okay. So what we're going to put in is we're going to put in coin and bill readers so you can pay your property taxes in cash at a machine. Okay. And to begin with, we're going to start off by putting these kiosks in North Carolina. You want people in North Carolina to pay their property taxes in cash at a kiosk. Well, yeah. And we've already selected the provider for the bill readers that will go in the kiosk. Okay, great. Hold up. This provider only makes bill readers for $1 and $5 bills. Federal acquisition regulations. The FAR specifies that you have to go with people that can meet the requirements, and nobody at any point thought of entering the requirement of the bill reader should be able to take $20 and $50 bills. So we're putting these kiosks down in North Carolina, and they decided we're going to put the kiosks in airports. So we're putting kiosks in airports, and now here's the wonderful thing that you can do. You can go down to the airport and pay your property taxes in cash with ones and fives. Nobody's going to do this. Nobody in their right fucking mind is going to do this. And that's the program that radicalized me against government contracting. That's the program where I just went, no, no, I'm not doing this shit anymore. And I left and I stopped working with the government. I moved out to the West Coast. I moved out to Seattle, and I started working in the private sector. And that's where I learned a bunch of interesting things about the private sector. But you are supposed to be learning something for your job. You are supposed to be getting something for your job. It's supposed to be making you a better person. Even my work on the Wings kiosks made me a better person. Among other things, it taught me all kinds of stuff. I had to learn so much about user experience and human factors engineering and the Americans with Disabilities Act. There was just so much I had to learn from that. And I took a lot of that away with me, and much later, I was on a project at Microsoft, and my experience working with government committees allowed me to accurately predict what was going to happen in some regulatory discussions that Microsoft was having in the EU. And that made me look fucking prophetic. Even though, seriously, we should have had some Europeans in the discussion. Don't know why we didn't. We had some people that had been to Europe, that had done some work with government in Europe, but not people that were actually from Europe and could go, yeah, this is how EU courts work. Few of us had been there, and that was pretty much it. And lawyers don't like to be told they're wrong. They really, really don't. And I understand that, because as an expert in various fields, I also don't like to be told I'm wrong, especially by somebody I don't think is qualified. But sometimes that person's qualified in something I don't know is relevant. And it's taken me many, many years to pound through my head. Always assume the other person knows something you don't. Although you'll figure out eventually that they don't know anything you don't, or just talking out of their arse, if that is in fact what's happening. But anyway, that's the first thing. And I've been talking for 15 minutes about the first thing. The first question is what you are getting out of your work, okay? If you're not getting anything out of your work, you need to start getting something out of your work. You need to start becoming a better and stronger and smarter person through your work, or you are doing the wrong fucking job and you need to get the fuck out of it and go do something else. The second question is, what is your employer getting out of your work? What are they paying you for? Because here's something that just, I don't know why this is so surprising and confusing to so many people, but your employer will never pay you what your work is worth because they're in this business to make a profit. They're not going to pay you what your work is worth. They're going to pay you less. They're going to pay as much less as they think they can get away with because their job is to pocket the difference. And you may say to yourself, that's unfair, but that's why the second part is important. Understanding what you do for your boss is important because it helps you understand why you have the boss in the first place. I mean, the obvious reason you have the boss in the first place is because they pay you. Another thing that confuses people and that they apparently have never thought about is, if you have a job, the people you work for have more money than you. That's why they're paying you. If they don't have more money than you make, they can't pay you the money you make. That should be fucking obvious. Apparently it isn't. But if you understand what good your work is to your employer, like what your employer is getting out of you that they turn around and provide or sell to their customers, if you understand that, then you will understand either A, how you could do that yourself, or B, that you can't. Like if you're an aircraft mechanic, my best friend's an aircraft mechanic. If you're an aircraft mechanic, you understand you cannot go home and build an airplane. You can't run an aircraft mechanics hangar out of your backyard. You can't bring a 747 into your garage and work on it. Doesn't work. You understand, I can't do this work at home. I have to come in and do it for an employer. The employer is not going to pay me everything that it's worth, but he'll pay me some of it. He's not going to pay me all of what it's worth, but he will pay me some of it. And getting paid some of it is better than getting paid none of it, isn't it? Which leads us to the third thing. And the third thing is really, really important. I talk to a surprising number of people who say their company sucks and is really, really bad at what it does. Then why do they have customers? They have the customers for a reason. What is it? That third thing is you have to understand what your employer is providing to the customer. If you don't understand that, then you're missing something else. the customer has to be getting something out of your company's service. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't pay for it. Nobody buys worthless shit, right? That's not true. Lots of people buy worthless shit. I pay for a subscription to Paramount Plus because I always lie to myself that I'm going to watch some of these new Star Trek shows. I like Star Trek. I want to watch the new Star Trek. I want to watch this Lower Decks thing. I want to watch Star Trek Picard. I want to. I really do. Just not enough to do it. Enough to keep paying for the fucking service. One of these days, I will watch it. But no. I was talking on the Discord about this. And I was just saying that I have 128 shows in my watch list on Crunchyroll. And I can't decide which one to watch. And I thought about it for a while. And eventually I went, you know what? I haven't watched Demon King Daimao in a really long time. So now I'm watching Demon King Daimao. Again. I've seen it like 4 times. It's 15 years old. And I'm watching it again. Because I couldn't decide which of the many new things I have not seen is worth watching. I don't understand that. I don't know why am I watching a show that I already watched before when I have over 100 new shows to watch? Why is that? Why am I doing that? I don't know. Just fucking stupid, I guess. But yeah, that's the 3-step thing. That's the 3-step thing that you need to be thinking about with your job. Is what is it doing for me? What is it doing for my employer? What is it doing for the customer? If you don't understand those 3 things, then you're not paying any fucking attention in your job. And I keep getting all of these people that talk about meritocracy. They always talk about meritocracy. It's not a meritocracy. The guy in charge isn't there because he's so good at it. Oh yeah? Then why is he there? Well, he's there because he has money. That's merit. Money is merit. If you have money, that's merit. Because if you sucked, you would spend the money on dumb shit. And then you wouldn't have the money anymore. Well, I don't have any money and I don't suck. Yeah, you do. That's why you don't have money. Because you suck. I often feel like I don't have money. I'm fine. I'm doing okay. So I got these shirts that I sell on Amazon. I do no advertising. I do no marketing. I do no sales. I don't say shit. I still sell 2 or 3 of them every month. I don't know why. It's only like $20 is all it puts in my pocket, but it's something. It's just there. If I put some effort into marketing them, I would probably make more money, but I don't feel like putting more effort into it. Actually, the thing that I was trying to do with this Yandere Pride thing that I got over here. This thing that I was working on. This design, this is supposed to go on a shirt, and that's something that I feel I can promote and I can sell, and people will be interested in it. But I don't think the design is good enough, and because I don't think it's good enough, I'm not gonna try to sell it. I'm gonna have to make it. I mean, now I gotta open this again. if I can make this better, if I can make this something that I feel like I would buy it, and I think the lettering works well. I gotta get the head and the face in the middle. I gotta get that right. If I can get that right, if I can make that look good, then I'm gonna have a fairly decent I'm going to have a fairly decent shirt design, and then I can turn around and I can put that on a shirt and then go, hey, buy my Yandere Pride shirt if you like your women crazy and psychotic and murderous like I do. Because I have the world's worst survival instincts. But it's just like, if you go out there and you do stuff and the stuff you do isn't bad, the money is there. The money is always there, you know? And it's like, I'm doing okay in terms of getting stuff paid for and having stuff working. And obviously, t-shirts are not my only income stream. They're not the only thing I use to pay my bills. They're not the only thing that I work with. But they are where I get my expendable income because, like most fucking idiots, I've allowed my expenses to consume all of my available income. Which is a bad idea. You shouldn't do that. But I've already done that. And now I'm unwilling to give up those things because that's the way people are. Once you have a thing, you don't want to give it up. It's like I could cancel Peacock and I could save that money. But I won't. I don't want to give it up. I have a streaming service I can open and it's got stuff on it, and maybe I'll watch the stuff that's on it. I think I did watch something that was on it the other day. Let me go check. I think I did watch something on it the other day. I watched... Oh, I started to watch the new Nosferatu and I never finished. I watched like 20 minutes of it, I think. I do really want to watch the rest of it, though. So I will get around to that. And they got a bunch of... Ooh, they have The Woman. They got a bunch of good horror movies on here. The Woman was a good movie, and it does not get enough credit for being as creepy and fucked up as it is. It is a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's it's got Nosferatu on it. So, well, I can't cancel it. It's got Nosferatu. I've got to watch Nosferatu. You know, ooh, they have the original Prom Night. That was good. Ooh, Twilight. As if. Yeah, I'm excited about Twilight. The book was actually really good. The thing a lot of people miss about Twilight is that Stephanie Meyer absolutely nails the description of when Bella doesn't know what the fuck is going on with Edward and she's like looking at him from across the school and everything. Edward is very clearly behaving like a predator. He's very clearly dangerous and not somebody that you want to be involved with. But Bella's fucking stupid and doesn't understand that. And Stephanie Meyer does the greatest job of communicating both of these things to the reader. She communicates very, very clearly. If you have any fucking idea what you're reading, she's going, this guy's creepy and dangerous. This is not somebody you want to hang around with. Bella's a fucking idiot. She communicates very well that Bella is like watching this guy be a creepy, stalking predator and going, what is his deal? Well, he's, you know, a creepy, stalking predator who's up to no good. And that's a hard thing to get across, and she does a really good job of it. Her English is not great. she uses some awkward sentence constructions, and she really does not understand certain things. Like she has them charter a private plane from Forks to go shopping in Seattle. A private plane? That's that is just this out there kind of concept that I don't know what the hell she was thinking. It's dumb as hell. There's a lot of stuff that's dumb as hell. But the characters and the interplay between the characters is really, really well written. At least in the first book. I didn't read any other books. I heard things about the other books and I went, ooh, yeah, no. Stephanie Meyer has got some weird sexual hang-ups and some very odd thoughts related to child marriage. I guess some of that comes with being a Latter-day Saint, but I don't know, kind of squicks me out. I can understand that you have an 8 or 10-year-old child that you betroth to a 10 or 12-year-old child as a political move, and they're going to get married when they're like 16 and 18 or something along those lines. I understand that. I don't really have an issue with teenagers doing adult things. When you're talking 20-year age differences, I kind of feel like you shouldn't be talking about teenagers. I feel like if you're talking about a 20-year age difference, you need at least a 20-year-old, like somebody in their 20s. And I don't know, that whole, hey, Jacob, when our baby is old enough, you can marry her. Ew, no. The fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, let's get to the showing up part. My God, it's already been half an hour. I have been reading Michael Mattesi's Force. Let me jump to the cover here. I think you can see this on screen. Let me go up to the full screen cam so that you can see the front cover. Michael Mattesi's Force. Michael D. Mattesi. Let me. No, I can just kind of shrink that a little bit. Move it over here. Actually, I can just move it down here. I just move it down here and go, yeah, there it is, right there. And let's go fit to width. Yeah, Michael Mattesi's Force. Okay. So not actual size. Fit window. There we go. Michael Mattesi's Force. Okay. That's the thing I've been going through lately. And now it's going to become a massive pain in the arse to get this window resized. Moving from a 4K screen to a 1080p screen is never easy. There we go. Now we'll go fit to width. Now pull that out a bit. And we'll go back to where we were. I think we were on the action, anatomy of shape. There's somewhere in here. Forceful shape pointers. Yes, there we go. That's the basics of where we were. So I've been going through Matesi's force and just kind of getting some idea. I'm trying to go back to various fundamentals. And the reason I'm going back to fundamentals is because you always go back to fundamentals when you're working on something. And I think it's important to kind of have some notion of what it is you're building and have some fundamental concept of how everything fits together. Because if you don't have those foundations, then you're not really going to do a very good job of producing any kind of, see right here, I've done this really huge arm for no good reason. And it's because of a thing that I see a lot of people do when they're learning something. It's like over here, I'm trying to go, okay, I know how the back is constructed. I know how to do kind of, here's a vague notion of how the back is constructed. But, ooh, I really understand arms. And because I really understand arms, I will do the arm really, really big. But you want your elbow to be about the bottom of the rib cage, right there. Kind of there's that internal structure there, and actually it would swoop upward substantially in the front, right there, and that would there would be a thickness through the body. Similarly, you've got the chest muscles, which we're looking at the back here. But the chest muscles are there on the other side. The delts come down much farther than most people think. They come down almost to the midpoint of the arm. And biceps are interesting because the more developed they get, the more they kind of stretch these external tendons here. So as they develop, you get this peaked shape here, because the red muscle fibers in the middle, they get tight and they pull in on the ends of the muscle. And because they pull in on the ends of the muscle, the belly of the muscle gets wider, but the muscle itself gets shorter. The tendons stay the same size, and they lengthen a little bit to make up for the decrease in size. And that tends to happen in both directions. So when you got somebody that doesn't really work out much, their bicep kind of looks like this. But when you got somebody that does work out, their bicep looks more like this. Similarly, you're going to have more development in the delts. You're going to have more development in there. And you're going to have more of a cut in the tricep. And the tricep is going to have more of a defined shelf right there. because that same basic kind of thing is going to happen with the tricep. The tricep starts out fairly smooth in most people, but then as it develops, this part right here, this gets good and fat, this bit lengthens, this tendon up at the top, and then you've got muscle down here, and you've got tendon down here, and this part gets kind of and that's one of those things that you only learn by looking at lots of photographs. You got to look at a bunch of photographs, and you got to go, okay, what's the difference between these two people? Why does this guy's arm look different from that guy's arm? But what I'm really going for with these is just a sort of notion of how the entire body is structured. I've been doing a lot of work on just specific areas of the body. There's a kind of sacral triangle here. The spine sort of comes down, and then it has this little arrow bit right here. And then that turns into sort of a sort of a central area where you've got the legs coming up into the butt, and there's the butt crack. And there's kind of a butterfly shape here. And on a guy, you've got a divot right here, but on a girl, you've got a fat pad. So that's a male-female difference that happens in that. I don't really draw a lot of butts. I should probably invest some effort in them because they're popular. People like butts. People think butts are sexy. I don't get it. I'm not good at drawing butts. You got a kind of a thigh there. It's sort of this kind of thing here. Okay, so typically what I focus on here is the sort of sweep of the calf. Here there's the kneecap. And what you kind of see on this is you've got this kind of curve, straight curve that goes on there. And then you've got an additional curve in the back. But that curve is just going straight into it. And I'm not really clear on what to do with the kneecap on these. Now from the front, you've just got kind of a swoop, and because of the way that the tibia kind of curves, I tend to exaggerate this quite a lot. But because of the way that the tibia curves, the ankle bone slants outward. So you've got kind of the inside of the ankle and the outside of the ankle, like so. And as we all know, if you want to make money drawing pictures on the internet, you better learn how to draw feet. Everybody wants you to draw feet. Better learn that, better get good at it. The outside of the foot kind of flares outward. You got kind of this kind of thing going on. That's backwards. Well, you've got the big toe there, and you've got the individual smaller toes there. And that's actually very short because you have the sort of structure right here. Calves too are kind of a difference. A man tends to have a very pronounced high bulge in the calf, like so, whereas a woman tends to have a more smooth curve, like that. It tends to have the belly of the muscle is farther down, whereas a man's calf has the belly higher up. This communicates visually that somebody is, well, what it actually communicates is that somebody has more developed legs, but women don't typically have more developed legs than men. Although, you will see, for example, in Asian women, that that the calves are far more developed. Like, you got your basic European white bitch. She's got her calf is kind of like this, but your Asian girl is going to have bigger calves, and the reason she's going to have bigger calves is because Asian cities are very walkable. And because they're very walkable, there's a lot more walking that goes on. In America, in Europe, people drive a lot. People go driving all the fucking time. In Japan, in China, in Korea, women do a lot of walking because they take care of a lot of errands. They do the shopping. They do the grocery shopping, which is necessary. They do their own shopping for like clothes and shit, which is just for recreation. They walk with their friends. They go all kinds of places. They walk all over the place, and they develop these big, muscular, meaty calves. Which is why a lot of the time you'll see in an older anime, instead of having this kind of big thigh, smaller calf, they just kind of go straight. And they go straight because an Asian woman's calf can quite easily be as big as her thigh. It's just a fucking normal thing there. You do see this more in older media, but yeah, that's a bunch of stuff I'm thinking about. This space right here is something that I've been thinking a lot about because women have a kind of an hourglass thing that goes on there. They have a kind of a peanut. They have kind of this peanut shape that happens right there. And here's the hips. And they get this kind of, the same thing happens in there. Whereas guys tend to just have like a block. It's kind of a square. But that belly area right there, on a guy, it tends to be pretty simple. You know, it tends to be just like a little oval like that. But on a woman, it tends to do this peanut thing because of the way that the fat settles. I don't know that any of the stuff that I've talked about in the drawing section here, I don't know that any of it is at all useful to anyone or is being in any way helpful. But I am thinking about it. I am thinking about whether it's helpful. And just because I think, well, maybe it's not, and doesn't mean it's not worth doing. A lot of the time, what's important is that you think about it. If you don't have an answer right now, maybe that's okay. Maybe you can just keep looking for one until you're absolutely confident that there is no answer. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to go over today. I showed up. I did my 20 minutes of work. I did my 40 minutes of talking bullshit about jobs and economics and shit. I talk about economics. I should have talked about economics. I should have talked about scaling. I should have talked about how, it's like if you want to make more money, then you can either work more hours or you can get more money per hour or you can have more jobs. And I don't know. I have at this point had too much to drink to talk effectively about that. Anyway, I'm gonna go watch more Demon King Daimao because that's the kind of fucking weirdo I am. Let me just go ahead and watch the same old anime that I've watched a bunch of times before. Because that's the kind of person I am. I'm old. I'm not comfortable with new things. New things confuse and frighten me. So, yeah. Do the little YouTube dance. Like, comment, subscribe. All that happy horse shit. And, okay, bye.